Hudson, Parker, and Mason, as well as 2 dogs, Charlie the Cockapoo and Nini the Ninja Chihuahua, which resided in Orlando.
Good afternoon. Administration and faculty, family and friends, and the students of the William R. Boone High School graduating class of 2017. A huge congratulations to the students for all that we've accomplished over the last 4 years. I'd like to start by having the graduates stand and turn toward their teachers, families, and friends to applaud them as a small gesture of gratitude for all the support, love, and encouragement given them along their journey. I'd also like to take a moment to thank the students here who have been battling a serious case of senioritis for simply showing up. It's 3 p.m. and you're still in the robes, but hey, at least you're here. In preparation for today, I decided to read the latest edition of Smoke Signals to brush up on my Boone lingo, as well as make sure I have the times right for this service. I read all about the fun you guys have been having with FSAs, DOCs, and AP exams. I got the latest update on the Revive the Tribe campaign, and even saw something about poetry slam, whatever that is. I saw today's service was at 3 p.m., as I had thought, and then saw a reminder for you guys not to bring your mortar boards. I personally had no idea what that meant, and apparently some of you were confused as well. So, just to clear it up, I looked it up, and it is a graduation cap. To me, it would be easier to say cap, but mortar boards nonetheless. So for those of you who did bring today, it's okay. This is confusing stuff, but make sure to pay attention to the smoke signals next time. But hopefully there won't be next time. As a matter of fact, I've been pretty confused too. Over the past few weeks, every time I've had to describe what I'm doing here today, I've had to use the word Baccalaureate, and not only use it, but spell it. And so many people, if they happen to know what the word Baccalaureate means, they certainly can't spell it. But after 2 weeks of texts and emails trying to let people know what I'm doing, I think I finally have it down. So the Baccalaureate speech is a special time when schools have the opportunity to bring in the heavy hitters with amazing inspirational stories of accomplishment and success. My personal story may be a little unconventional, but the reason I'm here today is due to my worldwide success as a male model. Why are you guys laughing? Alright, it was the year 2001, most of you won't remember because you were 2 at the time, but in an attempt to take you back there, it was the year of the release of a couple small unknown films entitled Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, as well as The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. You guys remember when that came out, right? It was one fateful day that spring. I was driving around in my 1985 baby blue Toyota Tercel hatchback, affectionately called the Blue Ferrari. That I heard a radio ad that caught my attention. You see, at the time I was 20 years old, a junior at Princeton University, and I was flat broke. The sweet car I drove might have already given that away, but believe me, I was broke. So as a result of being a broke college student, I was always keeping my eyes out and my ears open for financial opportunities. The Ryan Seacrest style voice over the radio said that there was an open casting call for models at the local Holiday Inn, and that all were welcome. So I popped in my Destiny's Child CD in my car stereo, cranked up my jam at the time, Independent Woman. That's a joke. I just couldn't get the idea out of my head that I could actually give this a shot. That this might be my big break. Sure, I would have been better off to have invented silly names or pillow pets, but my career route would be more like Derek's to help people by becoming their model. A few weeks later, I showed up at a Holiday Inn without telling a single soul. I came dressed to impress in my Birkenstocks, my pipe leg cargo jeans, puka shell necklace, and gel spiked hair. Yes, I had hair back then. I nervously entered a small hotel ballroom filled with aspiring talent. I checked in, got my sign number, and sat down. They explained the process that we would make 2 lines on either side of the ballroom that we'd go down to meet a modeling agency scout at the front of the line. The woman sitting in the chair said, "Hi, what's your name?" I introduced myself and shook her hand, to which she told me, "Thank you," and yelled out next. I thought, this is easy, right? So to the front of the ballroom. If you didn't call your number, thanks for coming. You guys can go ahead and be dismissed. Well, as you guys may have already guessed, my number gets called, along with about 50 other people in the group out of 500. So we moved to the front of the ballroom. At this point, I'm totally pumped. If it had been a thing at the time, I would have planked, dabbed, twerked, and T-voed all at once. But since that wasn't a thing, I simply walked to the front and sat down as they explained to me the next steps in my modeling career. They said, we have a huge opportunity for you. We want to send you to the Hyatt Hotel in downtown Atlanta to walk the runway in front of the biggest modeling agencies in the world. And I thought, I am in. I can't wait till we can highlight real video of this and post it on YouTube. Wait, YouTube wasn't even a thing back then. Oh well. So there I was daydreaming about being America's next top model, and I hear the fine print. You know the stuff in the medicine commercials that's really bad news, but they try to speak about it quickly in a positive tone while Enya plays in the back? So here was the catch. To take the next step, it was going to cost me a small investment of $500. I thought $500, the reason I'm at this modeling casting call is because I'm broke. And now I have to come up with $500? This is insanity. But as I consulted, me, myself, and I thought, hey, maybe it's worth it. What's $500 when you can launch a lifelong career and become the next Tyson Beckford? Well, not quite. So here's the problem. No one knows that I've gone to this casting call, and now I need to come up with $500. I must break the silence and go with the ancient communication style known as face-to-face conversation and ask one of my most loyal, quiet friends, Adam Hogan. He was like the golden retriever of pets, loyal, always there for you. I knew there was a chance he would say yes, and more so than that, I knew he wouldn't make fun of me and go run and tell everyone else. So he agreed to loan me the money, and I was on my way that morning until I realized something pretty critical in the modeling world. There's something called headshots. Some of you know what this is. So praise God for CBS 1 Hour Photo and good friend named Jessica, who agreed to last minute awkwardly drive me around Clemson's campus as I changed outfits to take pictures of me. I know these pictures are called headshots, but mine were more like full body shots because we didn't know what we were doing. And just to add to that, they were super high quality photos since we were resourceful college students. We had a disposable camera. So too bad iPhones weren't a thing back then. That would really help us out. So we took the photos, I rushed to CBS, waited for an hour, and then hopped into the blue Ferrari to head to the bustling metropolis of Atlanta. So when I arrived in Atlanta, it probably felt a lot like Edgewater's football team this year when they showed up for the Battle of the Barrel with a record of 0 and a lot. Needless to say, I was intimidated. As I walked into the Hyatt and all of its opulence, I felt less like Tyson Beckford and a little more like Honey Boo Boo this morning. I looked around me and everyone looked like models. And not only that, I saw that everyone had very professional looking books, which apparently contained their headshots, while I clutched onto my cardboard sleeve of 1 hour photos, still warm, from printing them just a few hours prior. This is when I knew I was truly out of place. So I checked in, they gave me a number, and asked me if I knew who I was going to room with. I panicked. I already felt out of place, I didn't know anyone there. So I scanned the lobby, and I looked around. Well, everybody looked like they had just stepped out of a salon or a pageant until I spotted these 3 guys who looked very different. Let's just say they looked a little shady, but I thought, hey, if anyone's going to take me in as a roommate, these guys probably will. So I went up to them and asked them, and they agreed. That night we had runway practice, and they talked over details with our group of almost 2,000 modeling hopefuls, and dismissed us back to our rooms, and this is where things got interesting. By the time I got to the room, the 3 guys had been there for a while. The room had remnants of smoke and an unusual smell. They were deep in conversation, and I had no choice but to join them as my new buddies for the night. In the midst of their enlightenment, they were discussing the idea of how they would get noticed among a couple thousand other people. Being a marketing major at this point, I learned the concept of differentiation and thought, these guys might actually be onto something. As I asked more questions, they unveiled a big plan. You see, the runway we would walk the next day was a huge T-shape. And at the very end of the part of the runway that jets out to the crowd, you have a brief moment to pause and strike a modeling pose. Well, rather than do a pose like everyone else, these guys thought of a brilliant idea that they would do a dancing move. my first initial reaction was, these guys are nuts. But the more they talked about the night and waxed their news, it started seeming like a halfway legitimate idea. So eventually I came up with my own dance move in my head. Didn't tell anybody, but just in case I decided to go with the crazy plan, I was ready. So fast forward to the next day, I'm in line at the double ballroom in the downtown Atlanta Hyatt Regency Hotel. My best 1 hour photo headshot is submitted, and I'm sporting my classic Abercrombie and Fitch look. The room is packed with modeling hopefuls, pageant moms, and of course, the actual modeling agents that they promised, sitting in tables lining the entire giant runway in order to watch her every move. I wondered where my roommates were, and if they did their dance moves, but they were nowhere to be found in a sea of people. As I stepped onto the runway, I began to experience a level of nervousness that I've never felt before. I'm not sure if you've experienced this. I was trying to smile, but my face started twitching uncontrollably. And then the twitching led to cramping. I literally wanted to start pulling on my face to try to make it uncontort itself. With every other step I took on this runway, I thought, don't do the dance move, it's a terrible idea. And then with the next step, I thought, do the dance move, differentiate yourself. So I tried staying calm, but it wasn't working. At this point, each of the agents are glancing back and forth between my 1 hour photos and myself, potentially figuring out that I might be new to this whole modeling thing. With each step I took, I felt like everything was literally in slow motion. When I hit the end of that runway, time literally stopped, and I almost blacked out, only to realize that I am suddenly doing the dance move. Instantly in my mind, I see $100 bills floating through the air on fire. If I could have dug a grave for myself right at the end of that runway, believe me, I would have. I knew right then my modeling career was over, and it was. So the dance move has been forever immortalized and retired. I would show you a move today, but it is slightly inappropriate for our current context. In order to help you envision it, I will share the name of the move, and it was called the shower roll. So believe it or not, that's actually a true story. And I may not become the worldwide modeling sensation that I hoped and dreamed, but it did lend me some wisdom that I'm now about to pass on to each of you in the form of an acronym of the word model. So hope this memory. So M, make memories. Life is short. Be willing to take a few risks, as the stories and experiences are always invaluable. My male modeling career may have seemed like a waste of time, but it has been one of a handful of embarrassing stories that I love to tell, and one of my favorite memories from college. So M, make memories. O, own your mistakes. You'll make a ton of them, so just admit it and learn from them. Hindsight is always 20/20. It was a mistake to do the dance move. I will actually never know if I could have been a male model at this point. But now, if I ever get on another runway, believe me, I will simply strike a pose, as expected, and see how it all pans out. So O, own your mistakes. D, don't take yourself too seriously. Be willing to laugh along with others and even at yourself. Laughter is the best medicine. At the time, I really didn't think my modeling story was all that funny. It's pretty embarrassing. It honestly took me a few years to tell anyone other than my two friends that already knew. Over time, I loosened up and realized just how ridiculous of a story it was and started to share it. So D, don't take yourself too seriously. E, expect the unexpected. Life may not end up the way you envision it. Set goals, make plans, but also be flexible and open as things change along the way. My career of male modeling may not have panned out. That led me to a similar field of being a youth pastor. And here I am on stage speaking at your Boone Baccalaureate. So E, expect the unexpected. And L, listen to wise counsel. In order to listen, you have to ask first. And to receive wise counsel, you have to surround yourself with wise people. Looking back, if I had asked some wise people, they might have advised me not to go to the open modeling casting call, or surely not to invest the $500 that I didn't have. Can you imagine if I had asked one of the modeling agents beforehand if I should do the dance move? They might have advised against it. Lastly, and importantly, if I want to leave you with the ultimate wisdom I have received in my life, is that Jesus Christ is the hope of the world. I came to know the truth of Jesus as my Lord and Savior when I was exactly your age, and it's changed my life in incredible ways. It hasn't made life easier or prevented bad things from happening, but it has given me a baseline for truth, a true definition of love, a desire to be a light in a dark world, and the hope of an abundant life with God here on this earth and forever. So graduates, when you think back on this day, my hope is that you'll remember my crazy story as a male model, and that thought will trigger the acronym model in your mind. Make memories. Own your mistakes. Don't take yourself too seriously. Expect the unexpected, and listen to wise counsel. And finally, that each of you would remember that Jesus is our ultimate model for hope and love in a sinful and broken world. Thank you. They wanted me to mention that there is a reception in the Elite Fellowship Hall, which is right through these doors across the way following the service, and that if you guys hold parking tickets when you parked, that they have a stamp in that room that they can stamp and validate that for you. So thank you for being here today. I think you are dismissed. No, you are not dismissed.